Hey guys, welcome back to Geek and Plunder. Now for this week I had something special planned, but it didn't really work out as I had hoped. See, 2 weeks ago I went to London, the capital of the UK, which is an amazing city. I've been going there for years, but it has been a while since I went back, partly because of the pandemic and because I've been very busy. But the plan was to go back to London and show you guys my favorite geeky spots in the whole of the city. I had 3 picked out that I wanted to show you guys. Some of them I had even been talking about in previous videos. But it turns out that time is a cruel mistress. In other words, a lot has changed in the city. So much so that one of the spots doesn't exist anymore, and the second one, well, it still exists, but barely. Alright, I'm exaggerating a little bit, but it definitely isn't the same. And I mean, there are a lot of geeky spots in London still, and there definitely are a ton of new ones. There was like Harry Potter wherever you looked. But I need to do a little more research to make that video, so I had to change course in the middle of taping everything. But luckily, I got the solution. Now first, let me tell you about the spots I was going to visit. The first place I wanted to visit, and that is still there, in all its glory, was Hamleys, a store with 6 floors of toys. Now a lot of it are just typical children toys, but there are some floors with some really nice pieces. Basically that was the place where we used to go to get all of our geeky toys, because it wasn't as easy to order everything from the internet as it is now. The second place I wanted to visit was Trocadero. I don't know if you remember that, I've talked about this in the past, but it used to be a huge arcade with one floor after the other stacked with video games. But now it is a tourist shop. I mean, no disrespect for whoever owns that tourist shop. It looked like a pretty decent tourist shop. But where did all the rest go? All those top floors were not used. Or they might be used now, they might be offices. But it was sad to see that that time had ended, that era was over. I cried a little, for other reasons though. And the last place I visited, and that was still there, but not as big as it used to be, was the Forbidden Planet. While Hamleys had a lot of toys and some unique pieces, the Forbidden Planet was just all unique pieces. The things I've seen in that shop, everything was Marvel, Star Wars, comics. It was just amazing. Now it's just one floor, and there is a big part of anime, which just isn't my thing. But it was the place where I found my new topic for today. Now if you've seen the thumbnail and the title, you already know what it is. It is a crossover figure between the Universal Monsters and the Turtles. It basically combines 2 of the things I grew up on in one figurine. Now in case you're not familiar with the Universal Monsters, that is basically all the old school creatures. Like the monster of Frankenstein, Dracula, the werewolf, and like this one, the Mummy. But it is Michelangelo The Mummy. Now they have a few others. There's also Leonardo the Hunchback. And this last one is Raphael, the Monster of Frankenstein. Apparently they also have an April Bride of Frankenstein, and from what I've seen there's also a Casey Jones Dracula. Now in the shop they had both the Leonardo and the Michelangelo, but I picked the Michelangelo because it looked the most interesting, I guess. The box itself looks amazing, look at this box art. The text on here is also funny, Mikey comes to life, the party dude is out of his tomb, and beware of the curse of Cowabunga. Come on, that is a Turtles classic. It was the box itself that sold the whole figurine. It was an easy decision, but let's open it up. You get a nice window that already shows everything that's inside. Look at this picture. Apparently you can pose him any way you want, so that is going to be another challenge for me. Here we go. Michelangelo himself, there's a second face that looks kind of awkward the way it's grinning. It's kind of funny looking. His nunchucks and the shape of an Ankh cross, an Egyptian cross. And there's a staff, a snake staff. That is interesting. I didn't know that he had the staff. There are also some extra pieces of cloth down here. I don't know what they're going to be used for. Let's get him out of there. Now, on the first glance, I thought his eyes were closed, but it turns out that one eye is open. Now, what I like best about this is the Egyptian hieroglyphs on his back. There's a lot of references to Osiris. And even a turtle, look at that. That is so meta. Now you can replace his hands much like with a Figma figure. And if you've seen my previous video with the Silent Hill Pyramid Head, you know that I'm not that good with replacing parts. I actually broke it. So I'm going to be extremely careful with this one. I would consider these his general zombie hands, I guess. And then there's a nice pair of punching hands. His Ankh nunchucks. His second head, which I'll not be using. I think it's a little creepy. Why is he showing his teeth like that? And they're green. I mean, he's a turtle, but I don't think they have green teeth, to be honest. Well, he is also a mummy. There is the staff. No, wait. This is not a staff. This is actually a cobra snake. I thought it was a staff. I was already wondering what Michelangelo would be doing with the staff, but you can basically shape it and put it next to him. And as I've said, there's a few pieces of cloth. I don't know what we'll be using that for, but I'll just throw them in there. I do have to say that this actually feels better than the Figmas. It is heavier and it feels sturdier. I don't feel like I can break this one. I'm not going to try and pop off his head. I'm not trying that one again. And most likely it's a little more difficult to position him, but to be honest, I'm not too bothered. It's just a cool looking figurine. Once I found that winning position, he's staying in that for the rest of his life. The material feels nice. And like I said, it got some good weight to it. The details are nice. Pretty decent paint job. And I really like those small details, like the carvings in the shield, and all of these pieces of cloth sticking out and kind of overlapping the belt and whatnot. I like it. This is a nice figurine. I might actually consider to get the others. I paid about £45 for this, which is, in euros, it's kind of the same, which I think is a good price for a figurine of this size and this quality. I mean, this has been a nice souvenir for my trip to London. And I'm probably going to go back to London at some point after I've done some research and discover some new places. Some new favorite geeky spots. It will be an adventure by itself. But for this trip, this has been a nice souvenir. Now I'll be posting the rest of the city, the places that I visited, on my other channel, on the Damesy's channel. So if you're interested to seeing some parts of London, go check out that channel. I'll leave a link to it below. That video should be up somewhere in the coming weeks. And for now, Michelangelo and his snake are going on the shelf. That was it, guys. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and make sure to subscribe. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video in 2 weeks. Till then, take care. Bye-bye.